So I'm going to start with a big one here. This is at the very beginning. This is where all everything starts, is actually opening up your shop. So what you want to do, and I'm going to try to go as slow as possible here, and I'll do some follow-up videos with some more in-depth specifics, because there's a lot of elements and a lot of variables with your Etsy shop. But you got to take it one step at a time, and the first step is just getting your shop open, and then you can start tweaking it and working on the different elements of making your shop grow and making it successful. The key is getting started. So you want to go to Etsy.com is the first step, which is what you see here. Then you want to go to sell on Etsy, or actually, I'm sorry, it's register. So you click register, and you want to go ahead and create your account. So you can use an email address that you already have. I would suggest creating a new email address. What's a little bit tricky is if you have a name in mind, because you're going to need to name your Etsy shop. If you have a name in mind for your Etsy shop, you're really not going to know if that name is taken or not until you actually create your account. So probably the best thing to do is just start with your personal email, and then once you get to the next step, which I'll show you, you can always change your actual email later to be more specifically aligned with your shop, because you want to separate that out, because you're going to be going to get updates from Etsy in regard to your shop, and you want to have that separated. You don't want that to be jumbled in with your normal email. So I'm just going to use an email here that I just created. We'll go retrochicfinds@gmail. I usually use Gmail because they're pretty good, but you can use whatever service that kind of works for you. So once you get all that information in there, you want to go ahead and click, whoops, I forgot an L here. You want to go ahead and click register. What you want to do is click open your shop, and this will bring you into a shop preferences tab. So your language, you want English, probably, and then whatever your country you're selling in, and then the shop currency, which mine's going to be United States dollar, and then which of these best describes you. I mean, if you're starting out, you can put part-time. It really doesn't matter. It's just an FYI. It doesn't really affect anything. Just Etsy tabulates the stuff for their own purposes. So you want to select that, and then click save and continue to go on to the next step. So here's what I was talking about earlier with naming your shop. You have to check the availability to see if your name is available. So I'm not really sure if the name from my email is available in here, but I'm going to check. So let's just do Retro Chic Finds and see if that is available. Check availability. See, it's not available. But the nice thing is it does give you similar options to choose from. So Retro Chic Finds. So we'll just do Retro Chic Finds shop. I mean, that one's pretty close. If none of these are something that you're thinking of, you can do a completely new search and completely change your name. Etsy does allow you to change your name once without approval. Then after that, you have to wait and get approval once you submit it, so it's not instant. At least that's the way that it was a year or so ago. So I believe that is the same. All right, so we're going to go with Retro Chic Finds Shop. I'm going to do save and continue. All right, the next step is it's going to ask you to stock your shop before it lets you go any further. You don't have to do this immediately, but you want to be able to have some products in mind that you're wanting to sell. Now, keep in mind, hopefully you already know this, but in case you don't, Etsy only allows you to sell items that are handmade or vintage. So vintage being 20 years old or more. Otherwise, they require you to make your own products. So there's a number of products that you can make and sell on Etsy. You can do research on the website itself and see what other people are selling. Maybe there's something that you've already been making that you can sell. That'll kind of give you a good idea. But you want to have some products to be able to stock your shop, and then you can set the rest of your shop up with your billing, your addresses and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just add a listing here so we can move forward. So this is going to be the first vintage shop that I'm opening, hence the vintage chic or the retro chic name. So here's the listing. Now I'm going to go through this pretty quick. This is a lot more important than I'm going to show right now. I'll do another video with a lot more in-depth dive into your listings, because this is how you're going to be able to sell really good, is making your listings top notch, and there's a lot of important key elements in here when it comes to your listing. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick, just so you can kind of see what I got here, but you're going to want to pay a lot more attention to this in the future. So I'm just going to add a photo of a Beanie Baby right here. You want to, when you're doing your listings, try to get as many different photos as possible here, different angles, inside, outside, your product in use, if it's something that people use or display, if it's a shelf, you want to put stuff on it. Whatever the case may be, you want to show it in action. If it's not something that's people use, you just want to show every angle possible. So I'm only going to do one photo here, and keep in mind this isn't a great photo. It's just a picture of a Beanie Baby. The lighting's bad. The photo is not staged very well, but I'm using it so you guys can see what's going on. So the title is the next really important element. So this specific Beanie Baby is called Iggy. So we're gonna name it, Iggy Beanie Baby. Now there's 100 and some odd characters here. This is really important to your product sales as well. You want to try and fill this up as much as possible. You can use a comma or a space or a dash between words, but you want to think of different words that describe the specific product that you're selling. So this is going to be really important. We can dive into this later as far as what exactly you want to put here. But when people search, this is one of the areas that will the SEO for Etsy pulls from. So you want to think of different ways to describe the product that you're selling. So you can put, Iggy Beanie Baby, tie Beanie Baby, 1996 Beanie Baby, rare Beanie Baby. There's a number of items that you can put here. You can dig into the tags and see what else is on the tags and put that. Beanie Babies, it's also important whether they have PE pellets or PVC pellets. So you can kind of put that here, PE pellets. But you want to make sure that it makes sense. You don't want to just throw stuff up here that's not specific. And the title, the SEO search for Etsy pulls from the very beginning of the title first. So if what you have first is not specific and doesn't make any sense, then your SEO for Etsy is going to start off really bad. So just make sure the first thing that you put there is the most descriptive term for specifically what your item is, and then the rest can be a little bit more broad, but it still wants to be related for what you're selling. Like, I'm not going to go in here and put a pillow or a shirt or something like that, because people search, that's going to come up. A Beanie Baby is going to come up when they're searching for a shirt, and then they're not going to be interested in that, and your SEO is going to plummet because it's not related. So then you're not going to get any more views, because Etsy's not going to want to show that item that's not related to what people are searching for. So just keep that in mind. So we're just going to stop there, but you want to try and fill that whole title space out when you're doing it. So about this listing, who made it? Another company made this. If you made it, you would put that. What is it? Finished product. When was it made? This was made before 2000. And then you want to do a search for the category. which it's pretty smart. It should it should pull up with what you're doing. So this is another important element, and which I'll dive into later. This is pretty easy selling Beanie Babies. There's not really too many different options here, but some of the options are very do vary. So it really depends what category you use, what's going to come up. So we're just going to do a Beanie Baby and stuffed animals and plushes. And then all these other options you want to try and fill out. Even though they're optional, it's going to help your SEO. So primary color, see this one's a little tricky because there's really no primary color. This is tie-dye, more or less, and secondary color is not really going to have one. There's no occasion, and there's no holiday. But if you're selling something related to Christmas or Halloween, you would definitely want to make sure to put the holiday there. And then the occasions, they have baby showers, bridal showers, engagements, stuff like that. So if you're selling something specific to that, you want to make sure to put that. So that's going to help your SEO. Renewal options, automatic or manual. Basically every 4 months, your items, or maybe it's 3 months. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's every 3 or 4 months the product will expire. So if you put it on automatic, it'll automatically renew. Manual, you'll have to actually go in and renew it. So I just put mine on automatic because I don't want to have to worry about renewing it every couple of months. Physical or digital product. This is a physical product. Some people do sell downloads and stuff like that on Etsy, so then you would mark that as digital. The description is another very important area that you want to make sure to fill out. What you want to ask yourself when you're doing this, the description, is what will people want to know about your product? What questions will they have? Assume they know nothing about what you're selling. What questions will they have? You know, how big is it? What's the sizing? What can it be used for? What situations can it be used for? Different stuff like that. Anything that someone would want to know, you want to make sure to put in there. So I usually start with, you know, the title of the product here, and then a little description of the product, basically just describing it, you know, the year. You know, for this Beanie Baby, I'd put that it was produced in 1996, the type of pellets it has, the condition, etc. If I was selling a shelf, I would put the size of the shelf, the materials of the shelf, stuff like that. And then you can also put your different policies in here. They will be in other areas, such as your shipping and stuff like that, but you want to also put them in here so people won't have any questions, and it'll be as clear as possible. So you can put your products ship within 1 to 3 days, stuff like that. Return policy, if you have one, you can put there, even though that'll be in another area. Basically, any questions that people will have, can they upgrade shipping, and stuff like that. If it's something, if it's for an occasion, you can put why that would work best for the occasion. If it's say it's a shirt for Halloween, and it's funny, you can put that this is the perfect Halloween shirt or Halloween gift for your friends or family. They'll love it. It's different stuff like that, but you want to make sure this is completely filled out. I'm skimming over this a lot. You don't want to ever have it look like this. You want to make sure it's more substantial, but I'll dive into this later on with specifics in another video, so you know exactly what to put here. But it's really important just to think of it's more or less an FAQ section that you want to answer all of your customers' questions. Tags are another important area. One of the top 3 areas for sure. This is what people will search for, and this is what will populate and help your SEO. So again, you want to be specific as possible when you're describing your product in different ways. Just think of how people will be searching for your product, and that's what you want to put here. You want to try and make sure it's not redundant, because it's basically going to be a waste of a SEO keyword term. So you just want to make sure that you're using different words. And Etsy basically newly released a statement or a guide saying that they want long tail keywords, and basically what that means is that's more than 2 keywords as one keyword will help your SEO, because if you're using more than one word, that's going to be more descriptive. So usually, good long tail keywords are like 3 words. So I would put, Iggy beanie baby, and you click enter, and that's one. Even though it's 3 words, that is one keyword. So when someone searches Iggy beanie baby, they're gonna land on your item, and that's specifically what they're looking for. If you just put beanie baby, I mean, who knows what's going to come up? There's going to be probably thousands of beanie babies that come up, and maybe they're searching for a specific beanie baby. So if you don't have Iggy beanie baby and you only have beanie baby, they're never going to find your listing. So, and you can have both of these. However, it is redundant because you already have beanie baby in here. So it's really kind of a waste of a keyword. You want to make sure, or I'm sorry, a tag. You want to make sure also to fill out. You have 13 tag options available. You want to make sure to fill out all those, because I think every tag is a possibility for the customer to find your item. So you want to make sure to think of different ways to fill out your tags. Another trick you can do, and like I said, I'm going to do another video specifically on this to help you. But one thing you can do is go to the Etsy search bar on Etsy.com and just type in 1 or 2 words related to your product, and it'll bring down a list. I'll show you guys really quick so you know what I'm talking about. So here's the search bar. So if I do beanie baby, all these items right here are different possible tag items that I can use, and you can mix this up. You can do plush beanie. Oh, nothing's coming up under that. I can do Iggy beanie. So there's not a lot of options there. So probably the best way is just to do beanie baby or tie beanie. Yeah, tie beanie babies. So these are all different ways, but if you're doing, shelf, there's all these different keywords. Excuse me. There's all these different keywords that you can use there. So that'll kind of give you a good idea of what to do with your tags, but you want to make sure to have these all filled out. And like I said, I'll do another video to dive in there to kind of help you out, because tags and title are probably the absolute most important thing for your listing. And then comes your description. Materials. This is more for if it's something that you make. I guess you could do it for like something like a beanie baby. You could probably put PE pellets. It works kind of the same way. PVC pellets, stuff like that. But you don't have to do it for something that's already made. If you're selling, let's say a shelf, you'd want to put what type of wood it is here, like cedar. And then maybe you got metal brackets, so you'd put, iron, stuff like that. Maybe what it's cured, if the wood is cured with anything, you'd want to put those descriptive items on there. But that's not near as important as your tags. Materials don't come up as much in search as your tags do. All right, so you'd want to put inventory and pricing here. You can do your research on Etsy and kind of see what your price point is. With selling in general, it's too low or too high is the things that you really want to stay away from. Too low, people will think that it's a cheap product and not want to buy. Too high, it's just going to be unreachable. So somewhere in the middle, middle to high is kind of where you want to kind of stick to, depending on what you're selling. So kind of think about that. I'm just going to throw a price out here. I have no idea what I would actually sell this item for, but I'm going to throw a price. Probably a kind of high price, because I don't want anyone to actually go in here and buy it right now. So we'll just put $500. And one quantity of 1. You can put a SKU if you have inventory system available to kind of help you. I don't usually put SKUs. Variations are another area if you have different. So probably clothing is a good option or a good example of this. If you have different sizes and colors available, you would do primary color. You can change prices for each color and quantities for each color, and then you can also do size, and you can do the same thing, prices and quantities for each size, which is probably more where you would want to change prices if you're doing clothing for the bigger sizes. But you can add all those different variations in there, which is really important if you're selling something. If you're selling a shelf that's different sizes that you want people to buy, clothing that's different sizes and colors, maybe paintings that's different sizes and colors, you can go in there and mess around with that stuff. We're not going to have any variations. You can offer personalization to your product. This is something new that Etsy just started offering. Excuse me, I still having my morning coffee, so pardon the pause. But personalization, they just started offering if you want to be able to people to be able to personalize their products. So maybe you're selling a hat and you want people to be able to write their own thing on it. You can offer that depending on what your availability is for producing that type of stuff. Shipping, you can have them calculated for you or do the fixed cost. I usually do the fixed cost because there is some variance. It just makes it easier for me to budget. But you can do a quote through USPS and kind of see what you should charge for shipping depending on the weight. Keep in mind that Etsy does give you a discount on shipping, so that does help depending on how you're shipping it and what size it is. So fixed costs, shipping origin, United States, processing time. This is really important when people are buying your item. They want to know how long it's going to take before the item is shipped. So the quicker the better, but make sure you're putting what you can actually do. You don't want to put 1 business day if it's taking you 3 business days to ship the item out. So usually a good range is 1 to 3 business days. People like that. If you go longer than that, a lot of people don't really want to wait. Just think about when you buy something, you really want that right away. But if it's something that you got to make, it's made to order, and it's a larger product, it may take you a week to make it. And more than likely, people, if you're making something larger like a cabinet or something like that, people will understand that it's going to take longer. But if it's something that's smaller and easier to make, people want that right away. So I would recommend 1 to 3 business days is a good kind of place to start, but just make sure you're staying within that. If you go longer consecutively, your customers will get upset and leave you bad reviews, which is a whole nother area in itself to focus on. But it is really important. Shipping carrier, USPS is normally what people put, and that's the cheapest. Well, it's the cheapest with smaller products at least. So you can kind of quote out what you're selling and see what's best for you. Mail class, you can do priority or first class. Depending, again, how big your product is, the best option is first class. If it's less than a pound, it will be cheap. The cheapest. It's usually under $3 to ship something that's less than a pound. If it's over that, you have to ship priority, and then the price doubles or more. So keep that in mind. So this would be a first class item. This is probably 3 or 4 ounces. And then you put what's charged. You can do fixed costs and then put it here, or you can just do free shipping. Keep in mind that free shipping does give you a little bit of an SEO boost. Etsy just released that in their policy updates last year. But you can work that into your price. So if you're offering free shipping, you probably want to raise your price of your item by a couple bucks. But in Etsy's research, they did find that that free shipping is what buyers want. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to do it. It's not going to impact you too much if you don't. But just if you do offer shipping for customers to pay for shipping, just don't make it too high. It should be reasonable. Otherwise, it will turn customers off. Here you can offer international shipping options. So you can do USPS and then international. Keep in mind that international, if it is more than a pound and you have to do priority, the price substantially increases. I'm talking it skyrockets. So just keep that in mind. And then they do make it easy for you to fill out the customs forms. It's usually automated now when you do your shipping labels. Etsy prints that stuff out for you. But there is a lot of problems that come with shipping international. The customers have to pay duty fees, import fees, stuff like that, and it varies by country. And sometimes your buyers won't realize that, and they'll take it out on you, saying that they have to pay all these extra fees and they didn't know. Well, there's really no way for us to gauge all that because every country is different. So it's really on the buyer to know what fees they have to pay. But like I said, I've had problems in the past where they take it out on you because they may have to pay an extra $20 to get their item that only costs them $20. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about shipping international. It may just be easier not to offer international shipping. And then you can add shipping upgrades here if you want to add. A good option that I add on my shops is express, 1 to 2 day shipping, which is expensive. For first class, it's an extra. I believe the rate is $25 usually. It's like $25 to $28. But people, if they're in a rush and they need something, they will pay it. And I've had people, a lot of people pay that. But keep in mind, a lot of people do that express shipping option, and they don't realize that there's also a processing time for your items. So if your processing time is 1 to 3 days, so let's say it's the long end of the spectrum, 3 days, and then you ship it express, that's another 1 to 2 days. It's 4 to 5 days before they get their item. They're thinking that they're going to get it in 1 to 2 days because they don't consider the processing time separate if they're in a rush. So what I try to do is if I see that something comes in as express, I will make sure that I get that processed within a day, just because I don't want them not realizing that there is a processing time and they've already paid so much money to have it express shipped. So just something to keep in mind if you do offer that upgrade. Here's where you do the item weight. This is if you have your shipping calculated for you automatically. This is where you want to put the weight, but it will also default to this weight when you're doing your shipping labels as well. And then you want to do the item size and the packaging. I mean, this can be an estimate. It doesn't have to be precise. It's not going to change a whole lot unless you're severely off. And then preview shipping costs, which we have it at free and manual, so it's not going to give me anything there. So save and continue. And then boom, you have your first product listed here. Keep in mind, the more products you start out with, the better odds are that you're going to sell something quicker. But if you only have one product, that's fine. Just start with that. The key is getting it out there into the Etsy sphere to have people's eyeballs on it, and then your odds of selling it will increase. And then there's other tactics here with if you only have 1 or 2 products that you can do to help chances of selling. And like I said, I'll do another video on that as well. There's a lot of different strategies, tips, and techniques that you can focus on that will definitely aid your success. And that's really what I want to do to be able to help you so you don't have as much of a learning curve as I did, because it's taken me years to kind of gradually improve these things. And if I would have done these things right away, it would have helped me speed things up a lot quicker. All right, so we're going to start with that one product, save and continue. And then this is how you get paid. You put where your bank is located, and then you put your bank information on there, and then your residence information, date of birth, your home address, and then you do save and continue. And then the next is to set up billing. So I'm going to set this up so we can go to the next step, and then I'll see you guys at the billing step. All right, so I entered my bank information in there, excuse me, in there, and clicked send. And then it is popping me up with the billing screen, but it's wanting me to confirm my email. So I will confirm that, and then I'll be able to continue here. So let me confirm that real quick, and then we'll come back to this billing screen, fill that up. All right, so I'm back at the billing. I just went into my email and clicked confirm to confirm that. So Etsy knows that it's all good. So then here is the billing. Basically, once you have your fees, Etsy will go in here and deduct these every month. Unless you hit a threshold, they'll set you up with a minimum threshold. I'm not sure what it is to start, but they increase it every time. So say it's $10. Once you hit $10, they'll automatically deduct that. Then they'll increase your threshold to say $20. If you don't hit your threshold, then they will charge you the first of the month, that following month. So right now, since I have one listing, that's 20 cents. They charge you 20 cents a listing or to renew. And then it's if you do sell an item, it's a percentage of that item. I think it's, I apologize for not knowing off the top of my head. I think it's 2.9%. Don't quote me on that, but it is a couple of percent. They do charge in fees for selling an item, but Etsy is by far the lowest compared to Amazon and eBay and those companies. So let me go ahead and put this information in here, and then I will put that in there, and I'll click open shop, and then I'll meet you there. All right, guys, I hit open shop, and now we are open and we are ready to go. You'll see it doesn't look like much because there's a lot more that still needs to be done. But I do have that one item listed, which, there you go. There you can see the one lonely item that's listed in the shop. So this is a whole nother video on itself once you get your shop open, as far as what you have to fill out in here. Because if someone lands on your shop, you know, they'll not be that impressed with how it looks to start. But it's something you want to chip away at, and keep in mind getting the items listed is your first priority to get them out there, and then you can work on adding to your database of listings to get more on here, so you'll have more eyes on your listings and increase your chances of selling. So up here, the main area that you're going to go is Shop Manager. So once you go to Shop Manager, this will have your stats. You'll see your active listings, anything that's expired or sold out. You want to renew those. It does offer you to take a tour, which I would suggest doing. It goes through all these areas that I'm going to go through pretty quick to get you acquainted with it. Here's your stats. So you can do this. This is today's. You can do last year, this year, yesterday, last 7 days is a good way to keep a handle on kind of your performance, total views, and visits. So visits are basically if you have someone, one person come to your shop, it'll show us a visit, and say that one person looks at 3 listings, it'll show us 3 views. So views are everything that's been viewed. Visits are each unique person that's been to your shop. So you could have one visit and 25 views if that one person viewed 25 different items. Listings, this will be a quick view of all your listings. So you just have one right here. You can add sections here to organize your listings. So you can title your sections. I think it'll let you have 15 or 20 sections, so you can organize your listings out. And you can do bulk items such as renew and deactivate, stuff like that. Conversations, this is when customers message you. It's just like an email inbox. They can send you messages, you can respond here. keep in mind you want to respond as quickly as possible. The nice thing is I would definitely download the Etsy app, and you can have push notifications. So when a customer emails you or messages you, it'll send you a push notification. So you can take 2 seconds and respond to them. Customers love when they get responses quick. I can't tell you how many times I've had people, I respond right away, and they're so impressed because the customer service is so good, and then they end up buying right away because of that response time. It's really important, and if you're like me, you know you've had some poor customer service, so you really appreciate when it's good. So keep that in mind. Orders and shipping, when people buy something, it will come here. And then this will be where you can manage your orders when it comes in. So we want to skip this for now and just kind of see how it'll look. And this will be another video to kind of show you how to do the shipping labels and stuff like that. It's very self-explanatory. You would basically just click on the item, click print shipping label, put in the make sure the item weight is in there. It'll populate the price, and then you buy the label and you just print out the label and the packing slip, and then you ship your item. And then keep in mind your packing materials and stuff like that is another area of importance that I can kind of go over later with you, because there's a lot of different options there. You want to make sure that you're sending your stuff off where it's packed good, and the quality of the packing materials are good as well, because that will represent your brand. Stats are basically, it's a little bit more involved here. Kind of like the dashboard, you can see what you've done today, but it's a lot more involved in the time frames that you can do. You can do custom time frames to kind of see your stats, but it also has your listing stats in each individual listing's performance, and then it has customer stats. So it's definitely more involved to give you an idea of what listings are performing, who's viewing what listing, where your customers are coming from, and stuff like that. Finances, this will basically be all your payment information. And you can set up QuickBooks for Etsy to help manage your finances if you want. Basically, it's your payment account, payment settings, and then here's your taxpayer stuff, which you don't really got to worry about the taxpayer ID stuff unless you're get over top 200 sales or $20,000. Then they'll get you. They have to send you a 1099, but you don't get a 1099 until you hit that. You still want to make sure to check with your local accountant on claiming stuff under that and paying taxes on all of your sales. But they definitely send you a 1099 if you reach those thresholds, either or. So make sure to check with a tax professional on what you specifically should do for your circumstances. Marketing, here you can do, there's another search analytics tool. It's really involved on keyword search. You can mess around with that. Social media, you can do posts through social media here. Promoting listings and Google Shopping, you can pay to have your items promoted. These are all separate videos for another time because they can't get really involved, so I'm just touching on them briefly. You can do Facebook ads, pay to have your listings promoted through Facebook. You can do sales and coupons for your customers, which is a really cool feature. Key shopping dates, it tells you, what's the peak seasons to follow for listing items for those special occasions, which is kind of cool. And then custom web address, you can actually do a website through Etsy. They use it's called Pattern, so you can list your products on Etsy and they'll show up on your website too. You can manage both together, which is kind of cool. Integrations, these are all special tools that they're third parties that you can partner with Etsy to use. There's some cool ones out there. They can do, a lot of them have free demos. So it's marketing and management and analytics and stuff like that, which is really cool. Definitely check those out. Community and help, which is a great resource for you. There's different forums and teams. There's the policy manual. So that's a good place to, if you have a question, to go in there and try to get help. And then your general settings tab. So info and appearance, about you, options, shipping settings, stuff like that. So this is where you're going to spend a lot of time initially, especially on info and appearance. So you want to go in here and you want to add a shop icon. You can add a shop title, a couple words about your shop, maybe your slogan or your motto, your banner of your shop announcement, your message to buyers. So these are important. You want to make sure to fill all this stuff out. It'll help your SEO. If you're not sure how to create a logo or not really good with that sort of thing, you can use different third parties. Canva is a good place to go. It's a really easy, free way to create logos and banners, and it's super simple, even if you're not tech savvy. You can also pay someone to do it through Fiverr, however it's pronounced. It's fiverr.com. They'll maybe cost you $5-10 to have them create a logo for you. But you want to make sure to get something in there as quickly as possible, just because it'll add to the legitimacy of your shop when customers are going there. And then the about shop settings, you can add your personal information, a photo of you, your story here, maybe why you got started. This is really important to put. Customers will read this. You can put a shop video, shop photos. If it's just you can put you there. Maybe your wife or spouse is helping you can put their information there. And then any links, maybe you have a link to Facebook, a website, Instagram, stuff like that. Just make sure to get all that stuff filled out. Options, these are different options. So you can go through here and see if you want to offer any of this stuff, gift wrapping, whether you want to be able to do custom order requests, stuff like that. So just go through there and see what works for you. It's really straightforward. Shipping settings. So here's you can add a shipping profile. So when you're doing a listing, you can just select that profile. It'll make you easier, so you don't have to fill that out every time. If all your stuff's different, then you won't. A shipping profile is probably not going to help you. But if most of your stuff is the same, then you can just fill out a profile and then you just add that profile to your listings. It'll just help speed up when you're doing your listings. So those are the most important things. Just want to make sure I didn't forget anything here. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I did miss this. So in info and appearance, you want to go to the policies section. You want to make sure to have all your shop policies filled out here. So policies are your processing time, any taxes, the payment options, returns and exchanges. These are all defaulted here. So if these work for you, you can keep it and publish these options. But if you want to edit them, make sure to edit them. But it's important to have it either published as soon as possible, because people want to see your policies, especially shipping time, processing time, a possibility for returns and exchanges. I mean, those are the most important things you want to make sure to have updated on here. If any special circumstances, you want to make sure to put in your policy section. But make sure to have all that stuff filled out. But that's pretty much it as far as getting started. The key elements are getting some listings up as soon as possible, and then make sure that this stuff is all filled out. All your pictures, the about you, policies, everything that's possible that Etsy wants in here. Make sure there's no blank areas, because that will all help your SEO and your shop legitimacy. There's a lot of shops out there that start off extremely slow, which you will start off a little slow, but it will slow you down way more not having this stuff filled out than if you start off with everything filled out and everything optimized immediately. it will help speed up everything. So just keep that in mind, and just chip away at it as you go. Don't get overwhelmed. Like I said, the key is to get stuff out there in front of people's eyeballs, and it will help your chances of getting a sale quickly, and then you just build off that momentum.